bio sounds like vaguely like passive aggressive, but I didn't really mean it that way. I just really couldn't think of it. Okay, so I'm going to read some poems chosen because I felt like reading them. I had to put together stuff to turn in for a manuscript and had to think a lot about it, and then I was like, for this, I'm not going to think so hard. Okay. This is called The Self as Walls Needing Repainting. A room that was blue never stops being blue, even painted over, even with yellow the color of butternut squash. Outside, a wind chime of clanging geodes, rock sliced so thin it's seafoam, translucent. A body is a kind of house whose interior is always sagging. On a dark beach, I wanted to be sky like black film slung with crystals. Deer in the woods hide, bird cages hang in the trees. A dog on an empty record sleeve peers into the bell of a phonograph. A spider shimmies up in the space between branches. There's emptying and there's emptying. The hollowed out shell of a razor clam and disease pocking a hull with holes for worms. In the black case in the Natural History Museum, a knot of mother of pearl is polka dotted with punch cuts for buttons. Whose collars marvel, whose throats glisten at whose expense. This next poem has a line that I sort of stole from Larry Levis in it. It also has something about my hair, so that's good. It's very, oh, and there's that new radio program, Invisibilia. Has anybody heard that yet? And there's this amazing episode about blindness that I sort of listened to and so referenced in this. Okay, this is called Disappearing Chick. The music we like is half carousel, half villain. I cut my hair myself because asking for help is harder. The feeling was of being beyond speaking, your hand on my neck, the dark mountains receding. Of course, they'll come back in the morning. Of course, the Pittsburgh sky holds nothing or everything, the trouble of noticing how many shades of gray there are, milk clouds, clouds like white curtains. On the radio, a blind man speaks about seeing in the dark, his world a clouded peripheral. The problem is mainly one of listening. You gave me a tiny deck of cards, a blue doll with a red heart. I was jealous of the me who could dream of you all night, the world not whole but mapped at least, the hard permanence of mountains. But the last thing my father did for me was to become the ocean. And when to say it, when to reveal that inside the black felt hat is not a rabbit, but nothing. My heart a box of string. I keep ordering my father's favorite meals and refusing to explain the significance of each tuna fish sandwich. How many sentences can exist without context? How to link one thing to the next without becoming a toy train circling a blue foam mountain. This poem is called Mary Shelley, and the first line and some other lines in it are from some things that I overheard these guys like having a very weird conversation in the 61C. Mary Shelley. You never hear a bird or animal dismiss its kind. Embroidered gold, the sky, a coast with a heartbeat in it. I am this crushed vowel, this sand on the ground. A girl like weeds, like wet bridges adrift from moorings. Suppose a book jellyfished out of this darkness. A pearl on the horizon, a turning away from lighthouses. Are we only allowed now the melancholiness of everything, untethered from the waves? Do you learn from birds? What of the long, salt corridors of blood? Ulna, tibia, twinned lungs. No one outside walking as rain pearls the horizon, petals the gulls. The difference between knowing and knowing, all empty space, an edge of frayed lace, the accident of landscape, of water, and the remembered word for bird's bones. To shuck a heart what's shell, what's flesh. Is hope a coat buttoned against what can't yet be believed or imagined? Come back, Mary Shelley, from the edge, hand white, from the salt weeds, from stars sealed in envelopes. Bring back the all of us, theoretical, bird's bones, jigsaw, embroidered gold. Tell us stories from the shell, from the opposite of apple, origin. No fire or birth. Give us a box of cotton heartbeats, a boy less netted in breathing. Give us an accident, a hush of steel, a mirror turning on a single name. Put all these bones back together. Let them rattle and sink. This poem is partially inspired by the Rodin Museum in Philadelphia, which is this kind of small but really beautiful, amazing collection of Rodin sculptures, and it's free, which is really cool. It's called Assemblage. In some stories, bodies break into lift and weight, sinew and heft. In others, dust fills our lungs and we kneel back into the furrows where we were first sown. God, someone said, is a feeling, and the name only shadow and smoke. I picture the artist's studio, clay trunks and heads strewn in beams of sun and plaster dust, how they could ask to be posed together, loose heads rolled on a platter, two bodies coupled, arms pointing down together to the earth. In the dance you showed me, the man held the woman by the soft pads of her feet, and she stood and bent with the pulse of long spools of thread unwinding, the machine of the body winnowing what it doesn't need. What the body needs is only a cup of water, a hand holding almonds and grass. The okapi doesn't need as long a neck as his cousin the giraffe, but elephants cast their beautiful funeral frowns around fallen animals. Is this two ideas? That the body needs little, but the spirit asks for a mirror to catch the beloved's face and hold it there, in light, in marble and clay? I forget what you told me, where it comes from. The idea that the lovers in the story were not two halves, but two wholes, reveling in this wholeness. What holy assemblage of bodies climbing the gates, white limbs crossing, parallel shins, the arch of a back split into a set of tiny wings. Okay, and I'll read one more poem. This poem has like a lot of things in it. So it's called Weight, Counterweight, and Turn. And then it's starring Joy Katz, who's a Pittsburgh poet. I don't know if she's really awesome. Anyway, but starring Joy Katz, Miley Cyrus, Donald Winnicott, Mary Ruffalo, and 28 teeny tiny wild mice. To bring a baby into the poem, oh, it's called Weight, Counterweight, and Turn. To bring a baby into the poem, you must, the poet says, introduce a counterweight for all that cuteness. Whatever the opposite of cuteness is, she says, do that. In class, the students discuss the sentimental and the pop star's music video, teary close-ups of blue eyes, wide and wet over a red-lipped, trembling mouth, cut with the pop star's body straddling a wrecking ball, pale and naked. I think about bringing a baby into the world and what counterweight I would prepare to offer or suffer. The baby plopped on a seesaw, dense and heavy as the universe crammed in a nutshell. On the other end, big suffering, the beloved dead standing on each other's heads. But the mother and baby first see each other as mirrors in the psychologist's theories. The grim tug of a frown starts the mirror cracking. The problem is how to look at anything and let it be not you, separate, what it is and isn't. The kitten in the essay, for instance, which is, the poet writes, of course, cuter than its mother, eyelash, whiskers, nose a smudge of palest pink, eyes wide and terrified and hungry. But, the poet says, it's the cat we keep and not the kitten, so which is worse, which the true sentimental? To put a kitten in a poem, surely even worse than a baby. Or worse, the tiny mice clinging to stalks of grass in the pictures my friend sends me. They grin and the smallest puff of wind slicks back their baby-fine fur hairdos. To imagine a field mouse smiles, the wind whispers, its own sentimental, or not sentimental exactly, but failure, to see the clouds for what they are, not horses or houses, but water, holding its shape in air just until it breaks. Thank you.